Hi. Would treating big tech like big tobacco help snuff out misinformation? The U.S. Surgeon General is making a case for just that. Dr. Vivek Murthy is calling fake news a public health hazard that requires aggressive action from social media giants. What's your reaction to this?
Yeah, I absolutely agree that there should be more regulation of social media, because if you think about tech platforms, really, it's about their bottom line and profits. And I don't really know how that benefits our democracy. We've seen many times how social media has played out. For example, the last couple of elections in the States, but in Canada, we are not immune, right? But I also think that technology changes so fast that government regulations can't really keep up and change at the pace that we need it to. So I also think that there are major underlying cultural issues that we need to look at. So not to take the focus away from what these tech platforms need to do, but as well, we need to look at other issues like media literacy. We need so much more of that. Loneliness also is an epidemic, according to the Canadian Mental Health Association. And I believe this is we've all kind of experienced social isolation during the pandemic. And really, when you think about what social media does, is that it kind of leverages or exploits our personal relationships with people in our lives, right? So we trust the people in our lives. When they drop us a link about vaccines or whatever it is, we may be more prone to believe in that because it's coming from a trusted source, which is like our mom or our cousin or our best friend. And if you don't have enough people in your life who are willing to have difficult conversations with you because you are indeed lonely and you don't have enough friends, which is a real issue, especially for seniors, and you may be more susceptible to the kinds of stuff that algorithms will feed you,
Yeah, Hannah, I love that point so much. And I have a feeling that the Surgeon General isn't sort of suggesting, hey, I think we should go the way of like a totalitarian state and we're going to control and censor the information you're getting. I think it's more like, hey, let's try to figure out a positive way forward. Like right now, we have billionaires going into space. There are machines where you could clap or ask a voice in a box to turn on your lights for you. Surely we can come up with an algorithm that's going to push evidence-based medical and scientific information, peer-reviewed stuff ahead, up top. Because right now we know that doesn't tend to be the way that it works. Even this morning when I was Googling this story to try to find a little more information, I Googled Surgeon General Media. The first link that came up was from Breitbart News. I don't know what that says about me, but I was also like, what?
That's a great point, Jess, because in 2017, the New York Times, there was a study that found that in 2017, if you did a search engine thing for climate change, the first links that popped up were from climate change deniers. So it works in the opposite way, right? So there should be some tech to be able to address that.
Yeah, I mean, there's also
like
just the issue. Yeah. No, I mean, I think these are all really good points. There's also been an issue, particularly recently, where influencers have been approached to actually spread misinformation and disinformation, that shady kind of advertising companies, this happened in France recently, have promised a lot of money to people. And so somebody was a whistleblower and outed that. But I mean, I can only imagine how often that's happening. So that needs to be clamped down on. The problem, I think, is what will be stopped, and we're just talking about social media. So even if they could figure out a way in which to lessen the misinformation, the fake news, the question I think becomes, what's stopping people from just creating a website and having, let's say, all kinds of misinformation on that website and having an email list where they email people? I just feel like this is maybe going to it's a Pandora's box, the internet, and this will just shift and change. So I agree with you, Hannah, that we need more education. But I think we also, I don't know that we're going to be able to fix this anytime soon.
Johanna on Facebook agrees with you, Cynthia. She wrote, do they not know what will happen if they try to control non-mainstream thinking / alternative information? those sources will go underground. They'll find more clever ways to survive and replicate, kind of like a virus variant. And they'll get angrier too because they have been silenced. And Joanne, I totally agree with you. Like if you're already prone to distrust your government, and in many cases with good reason, but if you're prone to think, like not to be too absurd, but like if a vaccine has, magnets in it or that it's tracking your location, if you then find out that the government is sanctioning that these stories are pushed further and further down, that's going to light your fire.
Mm-hmm. And Karen on Facebook actually shares with us, social media companies need to change the algorithm they currently use, as it lets far too much false data to get through. Fear-mongering is at the base of these delusional beliefs, and they need to crack down on this methodology of false news and catastrophic thinking. Critical thinking needs to be taught, as well as how to process difficult emotions. So speaking to education, Hannah, as you said, and I think it's also, it is part of internet culture, period, not just social media, but just the internet, where, I feel like I come from a generation where I like to read long things. And when I click on an article on a website and it's this short, I'm not interested. I want the thing where the bar goes on and on and on. But I know, there's an internet term for it, too long didn't read, TLDR, right? People are just I don't have time to read this. And I personally don't understand that, but I think it stems from other issues, why don't people have time to read? Because they're so busy, because they have so many kids, because their workplaces don't provide for them, blah, 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 blah. So all of this is layer upon layer of social issues that can't be addressed as a one-off. You have to have it in combination.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Algorithms, it's a good start. And